in your 12th grade. In case you're taken CS in your 12th, you would have learned bitwise operators and other operators. Does anybody have any?
No, we haven't.
Sorry, not clear, sir.
My voice is not clear.
Your voice is clear.
Okay.
Yes, your voice is clear.
Okay. So at least 40% of you would have learned it, right? Okay, so let me start.
Repeat it once again, sir.
Yeah, at least 40% of you would have learned about the bitwise operators, right? Because I'll be explaining it in the slides.
I have not learned it, sir.
And it's fine. I'll teach from the basics. So if you have learned, it'll be easier to understand. That's all is my concern. So let's start from the functions. So when the word function comes, especially in programming languages, it's a very common and generic term that is used across all the programming languages. It's not something that is restricted to C or any language. So basically, a function is a term that was coined so as to decomplex the long programming languages. So when we think of a program, what comes to our mind is long, lengthy programs which needs a lot of logic and lot of technical knowledge to write. So to break that long program into small bitwise information, we use functions. So the basic definition of function is it's a specific. It performs a specific operation, and these collection of functions create a C program. So just like how the cells form the human body, the same way a lot of functions in a program form the entire program. And it's very important to know that a function is enclosed within two brackets. And let's go to today's agenda. I'm sure you understood what function is, right? Once I start doing the program, it will become easier. So today's agenda is I'm just going to be giving a definition of functions, the use of functions in C, how do you define it, what is declaration, and then at the end I'll give the examples. So until now, if you can just confirm if you understood or have any doubts, I'll be happy to clear them.
No doubts.
Understood. No doubts.
Yeah.
Fine, sir.
So defining a function. So just like I said, a function is a small block in a large program. So if you want to create a program, there must be some link between each function. So it's very important the way we define these functions is consistent throughout the program. So you can't define the function in a certain way at one instance and have it defined in another way at another instance. So definition is one of the key features of a program. So as I listed on here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 main, you can say, points to remember when creating a function. The first one is return type. So return type, as Vishnu explained, it's kind of similar to what Vishnu explained yesterday. A function may return a value. The return type is the data type of the value that the function returns. So like Vishnu explained what are data types and the different types of data types yesterday. So basically we use return type to tell the compiler that I want this type of data to be returned to me. Because the program doesn't understand English language, so we must use specific keywords such that the computer understands what we want. So that's why we use this return type. So if you look at this example over here, return type is int. So can someone tell what int stands for in C programming?
Integer.
Yeah.
Integer.
Yeah. So when you type return type as int, it means we're telling the computer the value I'm entering right now, I want it to be stored as an integer. And this int is not I mean, the return type as a whole is very important, because even if the entire program is correct, but the return type is wrong, you'll always get error. And it's a fixed prototype. You can't change it however you like it. And that's it about return type. Some functions perform the desired operations without returning a value, and that is known as void. So you don't always have to use a return type. So in case you don't want to specify what term you're using, you can just use void. And in yesterday's class, someone had a doubt as in why we're using like why do we use return 0 at the end of like if you're using int, why do we use return 0? And in case we use void, why there's no return 0? Because that's the simple example, because in void we're literally omitting the return type. We're not adding any return type. So when there's no return type to be added, you don't have to end the return type. So when we
Repeat once again. Like void.
Yeah. So when we use void, we're basically omitting the return type. So when there's no return type to be added itself, there's no need for it to stop. Whereas when we use integer, which is return type, there's a need for it to be stopped. That's why you use return. And coming to the function name, the function name is just the name of the function, and it doesn't have to be very specific. But what is important is this is known as a syntax. So every program will have a syntax wherein it's not it's an exact replica of what must go into the program. So as long as you follow these sentences, you'll be fine. So function name is just the name. Suppose heading or whatever, suppose class, or suppose you're making an attendance register, so you want to add it class. So it depends on what you want to set it as. And there are parameters. When a function is invoked, you pass a value to the parameter. This value is referred to as actual parameter or argument. Now this term argument is something you must keep in mind, because it will come up a lot in C programming, wherein you refer to the argument, and you'll be learning a lot about how to transfer the argument to other loops and everything else. So argument is one of the keystones of C programming. So the parameter list refers to the type, order, and number of the parameters of a function. Parameters are optional, but is a function may contain no parameters. So as in here, we used void, which is an argument, but this necessarily doesn't have to be. You can just write int heading and you can fill it with any number or whatever you want. Now, as you can see here, we not use a semicolon. So a function is not a type, it's not a string. So when you use a string, we end it using a semicolon, but the function is not so. That's why we don't use a semicolon to end it. And coming to the function body, the function body is basically what commands and statements you give for the compiler to execute. Suppose I give two numbers and tell the program, find me the, like, I'll give two numbers and tell if this is greater than this, give it true or false. So basically those are the statements. And if you're not using this return type over here, you don't have to use return 0. If it's void over here, you can just omit return 0. And this is the syntax for the function, where first return type, function name, argument, then name. So this is more of theory, and it's just something you just need to keep in mind. There's not much logic that goes in here. It's something that you must know before you start writing a program. These are just technical knowledges that one must possess. Now, once we have defined a function, it's important to call a function. We have told the computer what we want and we want the program to do, but we must also tell the computer how we must do the execution of program. So then that's called calling a function. When a program calls a function, the program control is transferred to the called function, and a called function performs the defined task, and when its return statement is executed, or when its function ending closing brace is reached, it returns the program control back to the main program. So as I told in the starting, C function contains a set of instructions enclosed by the curly braces. So whatever a function you use, it must come in between these two curly braces, and whatever function you're calling must also be within these two. And when you're calling it, you must call it to a specific space. So you just can't call a function to wherever you like. There are certain conditions which I'll explain moving forward. So there are mainly two types of calling a function. First one is call by value, and the second one is call by reference. I'll just give a small example before I get into what is call by value and call by reference. Suppose there's an address or a home in a certain locality. So that home will have a name. So the name of the home, the board which they keep outside the home. So that is the name of the home. That's what the owners have named it. But that same name is not used by either the local housing society or some other housing society. But instead of that name, they use a certain address which denotes the street they are on, the road they are on, how many spaces that road is from the main, how many spaces that house is from the main road. So that if the same house will have two different types of identification. So when you're calling a function, there are two ways of calling a function, but at the end of the day, you're calling the same function, but in two ways. So the first one is called by value, wherein this method copies the actual value of an argument into the formal parameter. And a very important point to note here is changes made to the parameter inside the function have no effect on the argument. So what you're doing is you're copying the actual value of the argument, and you're not copying. And when you're copying the actual value, there are no effect on the argument, meaning there are no changes made. Whereas in call by reference, the address is used to access the actual argument used in the call. This means the changes made to the parameter affect the argument. So one main difference is in call by value, the parameter is not affected, and in call by reference, it is affected. Let me just check if I have a program for this. Give me a minute. If you have any doubts, in the meantime, you can just ask.
Parameter means a is equal to 5, right?
Yeah.
Like a is a parameter. Then the argument.
Wait 1 second. Yeah, what is the doubt again?
Asked like a parameter means a is equal to 5, and the argument I was not getting. Like, what is argument?
Okay, I'll just show an example and explain that.
Yeah.
Can you see my developer C?
No, sir.
Okay. So So let me first tell you what I'll give you a small example of what call by value is. So if somebody can tell me how do we start a program? What's the first line of a program? Any C program?
Hashtag include std.
Add the include std.
The screen is not visible.
The screen is not visible. It's not visible, is it?
Yes.
Let's check. Can you see it now?
No, sir.
No.
No, it is not visible.
Not visible. So what is
Sir,
visible?
it's not visible.
What is visible?
Like,
It is not sharing. Not sharing.
Only the voice is coming. The screen is not visible.
It's a blank, like black screen only visible there. Sir.
Yeah. Your the name is showing on the screen.
Like now name is showing. Like before you asked, like before 2 seconds before, it was like only blank.
Your online compiler is visible.
Okay. I'll try to explain with the online itself. Due to some issue, the compiler is not getting visible. Okay, it's visible, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
it's visible.
okay. So the first is hash include stdio dot h. So this one I'm talking about is call by value. So instead of using int, I'm going to be using void. So the function here is to swap two values. I will give the computer two values and I'll tell the computer to swap these two values. So what I'm doing right now here is I'm declaring the program. One second, I just open a new file. So basically what I'm doing is I'm declaring that the two variables x and y are of integer type. Now I will go into the main. I just gave two random numbers and I initialized what a and what b are. So integer a will be equal to 100 and integer b to is 200. So what I'm telling the computer is store the value of a as 100 and store the value of b as 200. Next, you must print the values of printf. For swapping, the value of a is d. Can anyone tell why I'm using %d and not any other alphabet?
Because for integers, percentage.
So for integers use %d and %f is used for which?
Float.
So it's percent d divided by n.
It's not divided by n. Okay, so usually when we use /n, it denotes that it's going to the next line.
Right, sir?
So it's not divided. It's not divided by.
Okay.
So can anyone tell what until now what is it that I've done? No, just can tell what I've done.
We have just printed out the values.
Yeah, so basically what I
And
told
set
is
the computer that they are int and made printed.
so next what we're going to do is we're going to ask the computer to swap the values of a and b. So printf. So using integers as the data type, we're going to so now until now what we've basically done is we've told the program that a is equal to 100, b is equal to 100 before swapping the value of a is %d a, and after swapping the value of %a will become %d a. Next we're going to swap the terms.
Is it necessary to write the definition of the function swap above?
Definition of function as a
Uh, After hash include, you have written void swap. So in many programs, I've seen that they directly uh, come to the yes. No, I'm not talking about that.
yeah. So basically, I mean, it's not necessary, but it's like since you're learning right now, so I just made it a bit simpler
Okay.
to make sure that there are two integers x and y. That's it. So as you can see, we use x and y here, but here we used a and b. So that's another thing we must keep in mind in temp. Now we're going to tell that temp is equal to x. So basically when we tell temp is equal to x, we tell save the value of x and such that x is equal to y is to temp. So this format you're seeing right now, wherein int some value, suppose let's tell temp as let's take it as z. So int z is equal to x. So x is equal to y. So y is equal to z. So it's a very common theory that you'll be using a lot in the upcoming programming classes, wherein you basically try to relate each and every term so that you can swap the terms. Y is equal to temp, and then at the end we're going to return main. Yeah. Oh, okay, 1 second.
Abhay, you're muted.
Yeah, just 1 minute. I'm just trying to fix this. Not presenting. Stop. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. I tried running the program, but there's some error expected. Not exactly sure why is it coming.
Can you please increase the size of the screen?
Yeah. Just a minute. I'll come back to this later on. I think there's a mistake in the code I've written. Sorry for that. Okay, I'll just go through the theory and I'll try to show some programs later on. So I'll tell call by reference, call by value later on. Introduction to control flow statements will be handled by Kirti in the next session. I mean, in the coming session. I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. So I'll just go on to jump statements. There's not a lot of coding or anything here. It's just logic that you would have probably already learned. So jump state, when we write a program, we want the program to go in certain steps. But what happens is when it go in steps, what happens is it becomes long and tedious, which you don't want. So we want the program to stop at certain intervals so we can confirm if the output which you're getting is what we want. So let me give an example. Suppose we tell out of 100 people, I want to know how many have passed. So based on the type of program you written, the computer will go one by one and to check whether given a certain condition, if the condition is met, it'll be passed. If it's not met, it'll be considered as fail. So what a break statement does is, as soon as one condition is reviewed, it could be either you could have either passed or you could have either failed. The program stops at that moment. So break is a jump statement used to terminate a switch or loop on some desired condition. So based on the condition you give, and whether it's satisfied or not, break is applied. Suppose I give a student has to score more than 50, and as soon as that condition is met, break statement is applied and it becomes break statement is applied and it becomes true. I just show a small program for that. Just a minute. Yeah, just a minute. The program, it's not running first, it's getting stuck. Just a minute. Yeah. Function. So this is the program for break. So basically, we're using an integer I, and we're telling I is equal to 1, where I is less than or equal to 15. And does anybody know what I plus plus stands for?
Increment, sir.
I is equal to I plus 1.
Yeah. So we initializing the I to be 1. So when the program starts, the value of I will be 1. So for every iteration, for every loop it goes, the value of 1 will keep on increasing unless it becomes 15 or less than or equal to. So once the condition I is equal to less than 15 is met, so then I plus plus is not possible. It's not logically possible. So printf. So to suppose we want the value of 10. So this will keep on going till it's 15. So if we want 10, we will tell if I is equal to 10, give a break. So what we're doing is we put a condition already here that when I is less than 15, you must stop the iteration. But within that condition, we're also wanting I is equal to 10. That's why we're giving a break. Now I'm trying to execute the program, but there's some error shown. Yeah, thanks. So basically, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. So based on the condition you change here, suppose if you make it 14 for in this case, and you run it, it comes to 14. But if you make it 16, can anyone guess what will be the output?
One to 15.
Yeah, it's 1 to
I guess
15.
the program stops at 16. Like as soon as you get 16, the program stops.
No, because it fails the first condition. So it's very important to know that this condition is superseded by this condition. Sorry, the if I is equal to 16 is superseded by the original condition. So for this to work, this must be true always. So even if I give it 100 or whatever, it'll always stop at 15 because we've already told that I cannot be greater than 15. So that's all break is. Do you have any doubts in break? If anybody has any doubts in break, they can ask now. I'll move on to the next one.
Like if it is sure I
Yeah.
is equal to 1, sir.
I is equal,
So in that particular case, what is going to happen, sir?
if I is equal to 1.
Yeah. Here written if I double equal to 1.
Yeah, it will come out as 1 itself. If I is equal to 1 break. So if you put 0, can anyone tell what happens? Wherein you're initializing I as 1, but if you put I as 0,
It will become 1.
No, it will follow to 1 to 15 only.
1 to
Yeah.
15 only will be printed.
yeah, that's great because this it basically means nothing if I double is equal to 0. So this whole yeah,
Because it will first test the for value. If it comes true, then it will proceed to print. Then it will proceed to
yeah,
if. If the for value false, then it breaks automatically. It doesn't go to if and all.
correct. So basically, as long as this is true, only then will this entire statement be executed. So that's it's pretty simple
Why?
logic.
Can you explain why, sir? If I is equal to 0, it continues.
No, basically what happens when I is equal to 0 is this is false, right? This is false with respect to this statement.
Yes, sir.
So when you until here it'll get printed. Printf %d(n)i. So
Okay.
but since this is false, and as I said, this will supersede this one, meaning
Okay.
this. So that's why if you put I is equal to 0, which is a false term, this entire break is not like it's almost similar to not using this term.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, same output came even if you don't use it. So because the entire statement is false, it holds no purpose in using the program.
That I is equals to 0 is not being used only because we have started the I value from 1.
Yes, sir.
If we had started the value from 0, it would have been used.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I'll move on to okay. So that's there are some rules you just must keep in mind. You must write the break statement inside the loop or switch. So basically what I mean by inside the loop or switch is within the curly braces, the break statement must be used. And it's generally used with the condition if. So just like the example given, if some condition is true, then you break it. Because if you don't give a condition at all, there's no purpose of breaking. And another very important um, statement is break statement only terminates control from nearest matched loop. Suppose you made a lot of functions and you try to break the original let me just try to share that. Try to break the original condition by using the last loop. That won't work. basically, if the condition is false, it'll exit, but if it's true, it'll be coded inside the loop. And only then will the break condition be applicable. So the next one is continue. Now, you might be thinking, well, like using a break makes sense because the program already is, it's already going on a loop. It's already, what can I say? It's already functioning as how it should. So it's going on a loop, is doing what it's doing. So why should we use a continue statement? But the continue statement, like any other jump statement, interrupts or changes the flow of the control. So basically, unlike the break statement, the flow of the control, even though the program starts executing, but the speed at which or at where it executes will get changed. I have a small program for that. Yeah. So here I written hash include stioh, and I've used two integers I and j, wherein for I I've initialized it as 1, where I is less than 3 increment. So can anybody tell what will be the I value of I till where it will be?
2, sir.
Okay. And for same goes for j also. For j I given a condition for j less than 5 increment. Now if j is double equal to 2, continue and print. So before I go, can anyone tell what's the difference between double equal and a single equal to?
Double equal to assign a value. It will print as it is. It will like it is in the maths like is equals to is represented by double equals to in coding.
Yeah.
Single equal to is for assignment.
It will pull LHS is equal to RHS.
Yeah,
Single equal to is for assignment, and double equal to is basically it result in a Boolean statement.
Yes. So basically, I is equal to 1, we're basically initializing the value of I. Whereas when you use double equal to, we're basically using it as a trying to check whether if it's right or wrong. That's why if j double equal to 2, then continue. Now this statement is for j.
Why double equal to 2, sir? So why equal to 2?
No, you can use anything. You can use 1 or 2. I just gave a number here.
So is it okay to put j only 1 equal to 2, sir, instead of double equal to?
Here.
Yes, sir.
No,
Is
you
it
can't
okay?
use. Because
Or
as
there are going to be a problem.
It'll be a problem. Because
Okay.
what you're doing is you already initialized the value of j as 1 year. So when you
Okay.
put the single double equal to 2, you're again initializing the value of j as 2.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So it more than so basically remember that a single equal to is initialization. Double equal to is to just check if the left hand side is equal to the right hand side.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Can you please explain that break statement is used to break the program? It terminates the program. What is the use of continue? Can you please just explain?
Yeah. Sorry.
Do we need to specify integer I comma j in the fourth line? I mean, it's not required because we are already giving I as a value 1.
Yeah.
We are actually giving an alphabetical letter as I as 1. So do we need to specify that integer I comma j is an integer value? I mean,
As long as you're initializing the value of I and j in the program, there's no need for, because see, it understands when you give 1, it is an integer. And when you give any numerical value, it's an integer. So it is no need for specifying this. So as you can see in the output, the answer is 134.
just for showing.
Yeah, yeah. Just for explaining for easy understanding. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Okay.
No, just can you please explain if j comes 2, then what happens?
Yeah, 1 second. I'll just do that. Yeah. So for we told that for I less than 3. So basically what you can remember now is the value of I will be 2, right? It cannot be more than 2. Maximum will be 2. And here j maximum will be 4. So if j is 2, then you continue. So basically what we're doing is we're printing the value of j. So I is not to be seen anywhere here. We're only printing the value of j. So it keeps on incrementing, but if you see, it doesn't. If it's equal to 2, it goes forward. So when the value of j is 1, the value of 1 is printed. If the value of j is 2, the value of it goes forward but does not print. When the value of 3 comes,
Like
it is printed.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
just
understand.
Okay,
can you
thank
repeat?
you.
No, yes, I understand.
Okay.
Like it jumps the value of 2, sir.
Yeah, it jumps the value of 2.
And
So
like
as
after 1, 3, 4, and again 1, 3, 4 is continued once again.
yeah,
Yeah. Why it should have ended at 4 itself, no, sir?
or this 4, right?
Yeah.
That you can do that basically I think is because we're using a loop statement for that's why it came up 2 times.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So I'll just end it with this. I'll just explain a basic of so I'll just explain about operators in C and the switch statements will be taken on by Kirti. So I'll just give a brief introduction. So operators in C are of many kind, but when we come to bitwise operators, there are mainly 6 kind of bitwise operators. And like one of your friends told, in Boolean algebra, we use bitwise operations. So addition, subtraction, multiplication are all done in bit level. So bitwise AND operator is used by this symbol. And this is all just logic. This when it comes to programming, you just need to use a symbol, and the program will do it on its own. So the output of bitwise AND is 1 if the corresponding bits of 2 operands is 1. So if 2, suppose 12 it's a decimal value. If we convert into binary, you'll get this number. Same with 25. So if 0 and 1, only 1 is like only there both of them are not 0. One of them is 1 and one of them is 0. But the condition here is output is 1 if the corresponding bits of 2 operands is 1. So both must be 1 for it to be 1. So since only one of them is 1, it will be 0, same as this here over here, so on. And since both are 1, it will be 1. That's it. And bitwise OR operators also the same kind. Is 1 if at least one corresponding bit is 1. So here it's at least, whereas here it should be both. That's why using the word and. This and this must be 1 for the value to be 1, whereas here it this or this could be 1, then the value will come out as 1. And bitwise XOR operator is 1 if the corresponding or opposite. So if this is 0 and this is 1, it'll come out as 1. So as long as the opposite, the value will come out as 1. So all of these are just logics that you just must keep in mind. And right shift operator basically shifts the bits towards right, depending on how many numbers you're specifying. So if you suppose you enter some number 212, 500, 600 or something, and you tell right shift operator, it will convert into binary and it will shift it by 2 places. So we know 212 in binary is 110, 10, 100. So when I shift 2 places, this comes here, this comes here. So these 2 zeros go out. So 101 becomes the last term, and 2 zeros added on this side. So same with anything.
Can you please explain it again?
Yeah, so right shift operator, the last 2 terms gets deleted, and based on how many, like depending on how many terms you want to shift, those many terms on the right get deleted, and on the left it gets added. On the left shift operator, and the left shift operator, it's the opposite, wherein the leftmost terms get deleted. If just in 2 minutes, I'll just one program and explain it. Share the screen. Over here, we're given a number 212, and we've used an I. We initialized I to be 0. And someone unmuted their mic. If you could just mute, it'll be nice. Okay. If I is equal to 0, where I is less than or equal to 2, you increment I. So printf right shift by %d I num. This term is known as shift right. This is known as shift left. So as you can see here, right shift by 1 is 106. So it will come in binary. You need to convert this into binary. So this answer gets converted into binary, and the binary answer again is converted back into decimal, and the answer you're seeing here is decimal and not binary. And so if you left shift by 1, you get this value. By right shift, so it's basically logic. There's nothing much to explain over here. Once you understand Boolean algebra, this will be very easy. I'll now pass this session on to Kirti, where she'll take up the switch statements.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, audible.
Okay, okay. Abhay, can you share your PPT where I'll be explaining the switch case? And then I'll move on to my topic. Abhay? Only the switch case part.
Yeah. Switch case, right? 1 second.
It's in the PPT, check it out.
To control flow statements, right?
No. If statement I'll explain, but first switch statement.
Okay. If else and else if.
Switch statements.
Switch statements, I actually removed it from the PPT.
Check it in the one which is
Yeah.
sent. Perfect. So as you can see there, switch expression, right? So what I want you to observe in this particular syntax is, am I audible first of all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, audible.
Okay. Yeah, can you see the first statement there? Switch expression, right? So, for a particular expression, there are many cases. This case can be, you can represent it with 1, 2, 3. Example, case 1, case 2, case 3. If you want it in characters, case A, case B, case C. If you want it in characters like case plus, case minus, how do I tell that? Okay, I'll by tomorrow probably I'll just be executing a code based on this, so we'll get a clear picture. All you need to understand in this is because I'll be explaining the difference between if else and switch again. For a single expression, you have multiple choices. Does that make sense? For a single expression of switch statement, you have multiple cases here. Um, can anyone respond?
Yes.
Yeah, just keep that in mind because I'll be mentioning this point in the next slide, in my slide. Okay. Abhay, I'll share my screen. Abhay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what is this? Is my screen visible?
No.
Oh, just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. Oh. Um, just a minute. Now?
Yes, it is visible now.
Yes, it is. PPT is visible,
Visible
right?
at the corner, ma'am. It's visible at the corner, like not the whole screen.
Okay, is it?
Yeah, now it's visible, ma'am.
No, it is visible full screen.
So welcome to C Programming Workshop again, and I'm Kirti from IS department. So yes, what are if statements? You don't need to know coding to answer my question. Even in English, we use if statements, right? We use if, right? So when do we use if, basically? Anyone? And
In terms of
Ma'am, ma'am, we have to check either it is true or false.
Okay, not true or false. When you have to put a particular condition, right?
we given a
When
parameter, and when we give that parameter, we want it to perform some kind of an action. So if we say if I is equals to 1 or something, perform this action or something like that.
when
We'll be
when
checking condition, right?
when we have a given a set of values and we have to check for a given value, it will be true or false.
For a condition, isn't it? So whatever you want to check, it's right. So if checks the given condition, if true, it'll print it. Well and good. But what if it's not true? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
If it is not
Yes.
true, then it will terminate.
Yes, exactly. So won't that be very confusing? Like you won't be getting any output for explaining that. Um, can you all see this? I've opened my Dev C.
Yes, ma'am. Showing C program.
Dave, Dave C is not visible, only PPT is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just a minute. Um, okay, now? Now?
Ma'am,
No,
it's not visible.
it is not
It's
presenting.
not. It is just black.
Ma'am, your symbol is being displayed.
It is not presenting.
Okay, just a minute. Uh,
Still not visible.
Vishnu, have you done any changes in the screen? Have you done any changes here? I've sent you a photo, just check it out. हाँ Vishnu. They've seen it. I have clicked on that. That's why but still it's not working. That's my. I've sent the picture. One second, one second. Which one, Dad? The first one. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it is.
It should be visible now.
Okay, perfect. So how are you going to start the program? Same way, right? Now, what am I supposed to do? After
Start main.
main, right?
Main.
Or void, you can do anything. Now we are studying about which topic? If statements, right? So if. So here I have to give a condition basically. So let me take a simple program. Okay, well and good. So printf will do what function for me? What does printf do for me?
Ma'am, it will check whether 20 is greater than 10 or not. And
What
definitely
does
20 is greater
printf
than 10.
function?
Ma'am, printf function prints the output.
Exactly. Perfect. What should be my output now? 10 is lesser than 20, right? Perfect.
Yes.
Now I'll be making it into false condition. So this is not true, right? Sorry. It's true or false?
Yeah. False.
It's false.
Right? It's a blank out. So when you get such blank outputs, you always have this confusion, right? Has my code been executed or not? Is my programming able to understand what I'm trying to input? Right or wrong? We always have this question mark, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
is there any solution for this? Is there any solution? Of course we have, right? We have if-else statements. So what happens in if-else is, so if-else is nothing but a continuation of if statement itself. So here you can see, let me use a pointer. Tell me if my screen is not visible at any point of time.
Yes, yes.
So here, this is my condition. Same as if block till here, right?
Yes.
Now, in the previous example where I showed where the condition was false, it was a blank screen.
Yes.
I have this else condition. When this turns to be false, condition, whatever is here, gets printed in. So the user will never get confused. Okay, probably it's my error, so I have to change it. So let us make some slight modification in the program. Let's change that to if else block. Shall we?
Yes.
So this is if else, right? Let me change this condition.
Now it will print the second statement.
Perfect. Now, which statement is going to be printed?
Second statement. Yes, yes.
Perfectly right. Then 20 is. So I guess you got a clear grip with what if else statement has to do it. So shall we go for a practical approach, like the real world examples? These are just a simple programs, right? So now tell me, okay, here can someone tell me the basic logic? 10 is greater than 10 is lesser than 20, so this one. 10 is greater than 20, the other one. So if I give you a program where the user inputs a value an integer basically 10, 12, 23, 59, something. You have to mention if it's an odd integer or an even integer. How will you do the program?
Then we
You
will.
Ma'am,
Then
if we will check if
number
we
is
divide it
divided by
by 2,
2
ma'am,
equals
if
equals
the remainder comes 0, then it is even. If the remainder does not comes 0, then it is odd.
Okay,
we
perfectly.
will
You
put n percentage equal to 0.
so should I use divisible symbol or
Remain percent.
Ma'am, modulus symbol.
Modulus.
perfectly good? So let's write the code for that. So int n. What does this n represent?
It can be any value
Yeah.
that the user
So
inputs.
basically the one which the user is going to give it right now. So I have to ask the user to give me an integer, right? When I run the program. So I'm printing the statement. Now, after getting this on the screen, what will the user do next? He'll give the value, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I have to take the input. So for that, I have to use scanf. Not declared anything for n. Okay, it's not user defined one. The user will be defining it after execution. So I have to give the address operator here, address of n. So here comes my if condition. So if n mod 2, if this should be the condition, right? If this condition is true, then what should be my expression? Is an even or odd?
Even.
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 Else what?
Odd or.
Odd.
Ma'am, I want to ask one thing. Like, if we want to display n before that, it is an integer. If we
One
want to
second,
display n before, then what will we do?
just a minute. Just to make it clear, basically for I'll come back to your doubt.
Okay.
So let me execute this once. So can someone the number
5.
anyone odd, right? Perfectly. So can someone give me an even number now?
8.
Perfect.
10.
Yeah. You want me to try it for 10? Fine. Right? Yeah, someone had it out now. Go ahead. Just a minute.
Ma'am, I want to
Yeah.
ask why it is displaying n before it is an integer.
No. First, I have to declare something, right? I have to
No, I
basically.
No, I have a doubt in a print line. Like it is displaying n before it is an integer, but n is declared later. It should be is an integer then the number.
Specify the line number.
Like it should be
Specify
even
the line
integer
number.
Ma'am,
Line
nine.
nine only.
okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
See, let me execute this again. Your question was in 9. So 9 is an even integer. So let me take 7 to 10, right? So with the help of this only, I'll explain. Enter an integer is this question. Fine. Line 5. Okay. Before someone enters a value here, I have to declare it. First, I have to get an allocation for it. So, for allocating a particular place, I have chosen an integer data type n. Okay. Then, now I have asked the user to print any integer for me. Then, what will the user do? He'll print an integer. So, what have I done? I have printed 10. So, to read that 10, which is an line number 6, you can see scanf is used for what? It's for taking inputs of n. So I am storing 10 in the address of int, which is declared in fourth line.
Like, ma'am, I want to ask, like in the output, like it is showing 10 is an even integer. It should be is an even integer than 10 because n is later in the printf.
Okay, that will be that. Okay. I get it. See, it's nothing that you have printed this first or this. This does not even get printed. This is your value.
Yes, ma'am, the value of n should be printed later now, not
No,
the first.
your value gets printed first, and then whatever the codes get printed.
Okay, I want to ask this. Thank you, ma'am.
So, any other doubts, or let's go to the next topic? Any other doubts?
No, ma'am.
Um, This was the example that we did, right? Even or odd. Now, you to work on FLs. Everyone wants a chance for working on FLs, right? Don't you want? Like you want it on? You want a chance to work on FLs.
Your voice isn't clear, ma'am.
Yes.
You all want to work on FLs? Any program? Just
Yes.
tell me the right.
Yes.
Now, for the first program, write a C program to check the given two numbers are equal or not. So how do you check this?
Ma'am, for example, first number is n1, second number is n2. Ma'am,
Hmm.
we will write if
Equal to
in
equal
brackets
to.
n1 double equal to n2.
Hmm.
Ma'am, if this evaluates to true, ma'am, then we will print yes, the numbers are equal. Ma'am, in the else, we will write the numbers are not equal.
Well, so you got the concept very clearly, right? Now, let's go to the second one. Write a C program to check if alphabet. See, here let me make a one. If I write it on a oh wait
Ma'am, voice is not clear.
Ma'am,
It
your voice
is
is
not
breaking,
clear.
ma'am.
mm, now.
Yes, ma'am, it's fine now.
It's fine, ma'am.
It's fine, ma'am.
I was in the second question, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, if I write this or this, how are you going to read this as?
A.
A, right? It really does not matter if it's a capital A or a small a for you. But for your program, that
Both are different, ma'am.
there are things, it is called as ASCII values. This capital A, according to your program, it takes it as 065. Your small a will be read as 097, if I'm not wrong. Yes, 097. So are 065 and 097 same?
No.
Are they same? No,
they are not.
right? Yeah, so in the second program, you have to be very careful with this concept. If you are mentioning only capital A in your vowels in if statement block, if it's equal to A, E, sorry, I'm really sorry for this part. A, E, I, O, U. Then if it's only for this condition again, and whatever you give other than these will be, if you're going to give it in that way, then this will be taken as a consonant. This will be taken as a consonant. This will be taken as a consonant because your program will not understand small a, e, I, o, u is also a, e, I, o, u. So what you have to do is you have to give or condition. A is it's A or E or I or O or U again small a or small e or in the same way. Did you get how do you solve this program?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so whenever such kind of questions are given, you have to be very specific. Okay. So I just want you to solve this program. You can send the screenshots to me to my number. I guess you all have my number, right?
No, ma'am. Like, can we share to the group?
Um,
Thank you, sir.
C languages consist of dictionaries, do they? I don't know exactly. Don't know.
okay, I have sent my number in the group, and that's my number. So you can send it. So this shows me how interested you are in learning. Okay. Now, is that all? So many people tell C programming is that and C programming is this. That's it, is it? If statements, if else statements. That's it. Okay. We have something called as nested if. Now, what is nested if? Right? A nested if in C is a if statement that is a target of another if statement. Well, that's confusing, isn't it? Let's see a syntax. So as you can see, this is a whole if block. Inside this if block, you have one more if else block. Sorry, this is an if else block itself. Here you'll be having else condition also. Okay. Here also, so basically in one if else block, you have one more if else block. Another inside that you will have one more if else block. And this process is called as, this kind of loops is called as, am I even sharing right now? Okay. So this process is called as nested if. Is it being shared?
Yes,
Ma'am, your voice was
Can you hear me?
breaking, ma'am. So we couldn't hear what you were explaining, like nested if.
No problem. I'll gather it. Well, everything is messed up right now. I don't know what's going on. Okay. It's visible, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Yeah. Okay. So in one if else block, if I have, where's my point? So in one if else block, in one if else block, if I have one more if else block, and inside that I have one more if else block, this is being nested again and again. So that is why this kind of loop is called as a nested loop. I know it's difficult to understand, but I just did not want to leave it as it is. I won't be taking up this topic for this workshop especially. This session was only for if and if else, but I just wanted you to know about nested if also. So just remember the syntax. Hopefully we'll have workshop 2, or this will anyways be taught in class 1. Okay, only nested if. No, there's one more. Else if also. If else if, sorry. This if else if is also called as if else if ladder. What is this if else if and how is it different from nested if? Right, you again have this doubt. There the thing was, if this is my if else block, inside that I have one more whole set of if else block. Inside that I have one more whole set of if else block. But this is not the case. You have one if else block here and multiple conditions here. You have else if. There's a lot of difference between if else block and else if again. Okay, sometimes a choice you can read from here. Sometimes a choice has to be made from more than 2 possibilities, and that's exactly when you'll be using if else ladder. So just for your brief introduction, just know about this. Detailed information, you can text me. I'll just let you know. So switch statement, I know you people don't know what switch statements are, but still, I'll try to explain it. So basically, there's a lot of difference between switch. Of course, other than the spelling, also there are many differences. Switch statement will be executed depending on the previous output. As you saw in if else statement, right? If it's an even integer or an odd integer. What was it? If n mod 2 is equals to 0, it's going to print the first condition. Else it's going to print the second condition. Is it or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Yeah. Here, what happens in switch is tomorrow if you want, I'll just be executing an switch statement ka program so that you'll get a clear idea about what I am
At what time? At what time?
Vishnu, tomorrow, when do we have the session? Please. Okay. By 6 o'clock, like starting itself, I'll be executing. So here what happens is, at times in switch statement, I have to mention execute case 1 for me, execute case plus for me, execute case A for me. I am very specific with what I want it to be executed. Okay, so it really does not matter what is it for a switch statement. But for if else statement, as you saw, right? If the condition is true, it prints the other one. If the condition is false, it prints the next one. And if else, second point, if else statement uses multiple statement for multiple choices. As you saw, depending on what the previous input was, like input in the sense when the programming is going on with step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 in the process, depending on whatever 2 is, it depends right, if it has to execute the fourth statement or the third statement. Did you get what I tried to tell? Hello?
Once more.
Once more.
Hello? Yeah.
Once more.
Yeah, you can let me know when you've not understood that. I won't be giving a program now. 1, 2,
Yes, ma'am.
3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just
Your voice was not clear at that time.
Yeah, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just think these are few statements. These are few functions in your program. Fine. Like this statement can have this 1 can represent some if block. This 2 can represent some else block. This can represent something else, and 4th can represent something else. Fine. You've written a huge program, and these are your cases here. So depending on whatever output I'll be getting after the execution of the second statement. Second can be your if block in your huge program that you've already written. This is the process how it runs behind your system. Fine. Depending on whatever output this gives, this gives the next code block. It will decide if it has to execute the third one or the fourth one.
Okay, ma'am.
Right, sir. Depending on, yeah, you got that. You got my point, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So depending, so second point explains about that. If else statement uses multiple statement for multiple choices, it will have multiple choices in itself. But what is it with switch statement? I had asked you to remember a point, right? It uses single expression for multiple choices. Switch bracket expression. After that, what did you have? Case, 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 case. I'll tell you what case are tomorrow. So it has multiple choices for a single expression, and that's not the thing with if else statement, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If else statement tests for equality as well as logical expressions. You saw what logical expressions are. It's equal to zero or it's not equal to zero. These are logical expressions. But what does switch do? User has asked me for this thing. Do I have it in my case? Perfectly matching. I'm going to display that. User has asked this thing. I don't have it in my case. I'll go for the default block. Are you sure, like, whenever you write a program, you're 100% sure about your program? Like, you won't be having any errors. Is that possible? Always.
No, ma'am.
No, right? Sometimes you get logical errors, runtime errors, and many kinds of errors, right? So whenever you get such kind of logical errors where if suppose in the previous program itself, if it tells you're given the input as 2 and it says 2 is an odd number. Syntax wise, no errors. What is the error? It's your logic, right? So such kind of errors, when you write huge programs, it's very difficult. It's basically tricky to identify in if-else statements. Switch statements, what is it? I have asked the program to execute plus. Okay, let me not go for characters. Execute case 1 for me. I'm getting a wrong output. What will I do? I'll go to only case 1 in my program. I will solve case 1. Right? Problem solved. And it's very specific. It's very easy to do it. Okay. When it comes to editing, finding errors, switch is very simple. And can someone tell me the flow of the program in if else and switch? Okay, you can tell me for if else and then I'll tell about switch. How does the flow go? How does the flow happen in if else statements? Like where does the program start from?
Ma'am, it first checks the condition, ma'am. If the condition evaluates to true.
What condition? Else condition or if condition?
Ma'am, if condition.
If condition.
Yes.
If the condition evaluates to true, then the statements that are present inside the parentheses of if, those gets executed. If the condition evaluates to false, then the statements present in the else gets executed.
That is the flow of this program, right? What happens in the switches? User will specifically mention execute this plus case for me. Execute this case to me. It will execute. So whatever is asked, what is this break? After every case, you have this break condition, BRE. Okay, this is R. Try to understand. I'm really bad at writing with mouse. Break and a semicolon. So this is break. Okay, break and a semicolon. So what happens there? What happens here is after every case. Wait, I'll for a clear picture. Is my Google visible by any chance?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yes, visible.
Yes. Can you see this? You can see this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Switch expression. This expression will be given by the user. Okay. see, this case is being named as constant plus constant 1. This case can also be named as A, B, C, D, plus minus plus minus multiplication, anything. So here we have something called break and a semicolon. After every case, you can find that here also. So what happens is, until this break condition here, it gets executed. What if I don't use this break here? It will get carried down. It will execute case constant 2 also without terminating my case constant 1. I want it to be terminated right here. Case constant 1, only this is your function. So after you're done with this, stay there. Get out of my loop. I'm sorry for using that. So basically come out of my loop. Okay, what if none of my cases are correct? Then it has to, you have else condition and if else statement, right? If for your false statement, you have else condition and if else statement, right?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
You have default statement here. What happens if you don't give default statement? No one is going to cut your marks, nor is it going to show. And what is the difference? What happens?
Like it's going to show all the cases, ma'am, from cases 1 to cases 2.
No.
Ma'am,
Okay,
if none of the conditions evaluates to true, ma'am, then the work of the default is to execute the statement inside it. If none of the condition evaluates to true, ma'am, if default will not be there, and then no output will be displayed.
No.
It is same as it is same as the else statement. Like if the if is not true, then the else statement will be shown.
So if you don't use this default, it's same as the same problem as if statement. No output, then it's again a confusion, right? Okay. Let's move on. Finally, we've come to some important topic: loops. What is a loop? You can see this diagram also here. What does it show for you? What does it show?
Something that continues.
Yes, it's a continuous process. Basically, why do we even need programming? Why do we even need to code? This thing and all, I can do it alone. Why do I even need to write a program? Why should I even learn C, C++, Java, Python? Oh my God, so many programs. Why should I even learn them? It's just because humans have creative thinking, don't we? We all have, right? Yes or no? We all think
Yes, ma'am.
different, right? But can your system think creatively, differently?
No.
No. And humans get bored you doing the same work again and again and again, basically loop or executing same thing again and again. We get bored, right? So what we do is we give all this boring work to our program, let it execute. We will sit and enjoy. So by now you would have got what is loop and why is loop that important. A loop is a programming structure that represents a sequence of structure until a specific condition is met. Okay, what if my loop never ends? If this is my loop and it never ends, it just keeps on going. Is there something, is there a term for this loop?
Infinite loop.
Perfect. We will enjoy with infinite loop also. I'll just be showing you how do you make infinite loop also. So you can see your system going out of control and you can enjoy doing it. Okay, you can enjoy programming basically. So is there only one type of loop or are there types in that also? Does anyone know any loop? Because you've already seen what are the loops when Abhay was presenting.
For
While, do while.
do while.
Okay. While, do while, for this session, I'll be taking up only while and for, but for knowledge sake, there is another loop called do while. Okay. What is while? A while is the most straightforward looping structure. So it does all my boring work at a time. So, a while loop in C programming repeatedly executes a target statement. What do you mean by a target statement? I want it to be executed until it reaches the number 10, number 11, number whatever I want it to be. That sets basically I set a particular condition till 10, till 11, till 12. You have to keep on executing, keep on running the whole loop again and again. I'll be showing you a program also. Before that, I'll just tell the syntax. So while I'll give my condition here, if this condition is true, it executes my statements block. If this condition is false, then it won't execute. It will terminate back. So do you want to see a program on this? Simple one. Does anyone want to see a program on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What am I exactly doing? What am I trying to execute? And what am why? Can you hint when I'm explaining all this? What am I trying to do? Okay, someone was asking what is slash 10. Did your was your doubt clear?
Uh,
Yes, it is clear. Yeah, basically it comes to the next line. So I'll be
so,
explaining.
like I didn't understand why slash n is there.
New line basically.
Yes. So what is
Oh.
happening here? It comes to the next line. The slash n works for next line. What if I give slash t?
It tab space. Space.
It differs from compiler to compiler, so I don't know which compiler. This is a new compiler.
You
I'll explain about why compiler difference also. I'll show the photo. Okay, so you understood the while concept, right? You have any doubt in that?
No, ma'am.
Okay, where is while used in general cases in real world program? Is while used in real world programs, real world problems basically?
like if the password is not correct, ma'am, like it will be showing the incorrect password.
Yes. So it keeps on asking for you to enter the right password, isn't it?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Can someone tell me what are those two slashes that I've put there? Hmm. If I want a multiple line command, then can someone tell me the syntax?
Slash and
Whatever you want to write, and then again asterisk and slash again.
Perfect. Now we'll just have a real world program. This is just a simple mathematical expression to the power n. Okay. So we'll be executing this program. Perfect. You want to try? You can try. Okay. Why did I use this? There's a condition here when n is a positive number only. Okay. And try it out simultaneously. Who all are doing simultaneously with me? On. Okay, let's recap by the time I write the code. What does hash, what do you mean by hash include? Vishnu was explaining this, right?
Like including all the code.
Ma'am, pre-processor directive.
Yeah, why do you need that? Processor directive. That's the
Ma'am,
perfect word to be used.
Ma'am, for example, there is printf statement. Ma'am, it is defined into ma'am, some other files. So to include that code, we can use directly the printf statement without defining it. This is the user.
So what happens is here easily I'm using printf. Behind this printf, there's a huge code that is being executed. I can't be typing the huge code again and again, right? So this hash include already has that code. So it gives me permission to use the whole code without typing the code. So isn't that making my work simpler? Or else each of my code, this simple code would have run up to some 1,000 to 10,000 line. Could we all type so much for a simple code? Then we would tell, right, I can do it manually, though it's boring for me. Won't we tell that? It can be an interactive session. You can. That's why I'm typing it slow. If I can send this code to them later. I just want you to know the application. Okay, here, can someone tell me why have I given it as y is equals to 1.0 and not 1? Because 1.0 and 1 both are same, right? And why
Float
count?
value. Y is a float value.
It is float.
To float, right? So 1.0 and count in data type. So 1. Don't worry if this program looks like Greek and Latin for you. You will get it. Someone tell me what is slash in again? Because I'm using it here.
It'll just go to the next line.
Yes. What does percentage F mean? Whatever I write in double quotes, what happens to that?
It gets printed. Like,
what happens to the values if I print it if I don't print it in double quotes but yet it comes under printf? Okay, so if I've not used double quotes, this was my last question. If I don't use double quotes here, then it'll take the value. It won't get printed, it's the value. Okay, so someone give me what is x and what is n. Here you know y x and y n. So basically whatever you give, 2 to the power 3 or 4 to the power 5, what do you want? Anyone?
2 to the power 5.
Any 2 to the power 5. Okay, right? So what exactly happens here? While loop, till the condition is satisfied, it keeps on running. So this was just an example for you.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, can you show me the previous slide?
Yeah. Hmm?
I'm in ma'am 17th line.
17th line. Yes, this one.
And is there any need to write x is equal to a percentage f? And we can directly write percentage f.
No. Your x is being stored in percentage f type, right? Your x
Yes,
is
ma'am.
float
Yes.
data. Your n is
Ma'am,
data
yes.
type.
Ma'am, like in ninth line, ma'am scanf, ma'am we haven't mentioned ma'am x is equal to percentage f and
I have mentioned it indirectly. I have not interchanged this. So particular rate of x, this is the this address operator of x, I have mentioned float data type. Address operator of n, I have used double data type. Indirectly, I have mentioned that.
Ma'am, I'm saying that in 17th line, ma'am, x is equal to percentage f is written. Ma'am, if we remove x is equal to from here, and then also it it may be possible that it is a bit gets printed.
You'll get an error.
Okay, ma'am.
So, yeah, this was a simple expression which we already executed, right? 1 to n, 1 to 10.
Ma'am, can you please explain the first and second line of your program?
This program.
No, ma'am, the one you did it.
Y is equals to x to the power n, that program.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. Which two lines? Hash include.
Ma'am, first and second.
This one.
Yes,
What I've
ma'am.
highlighted. Don't worry, I've just written the question here. These are
Okay.
called as comments. So whatever you write in comments, it won't be executed by your program. If I am writing a multiple line comment, then I'll be using this. If I'm writing a single line comment, I'll use doubles. Okay. This is a program. This is for a single line. So by the time I come to the next line, this will be a part of my program. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go for the next topic then. What is for loop? You already saw what for loop is, and now many people have confusion between what is for loop and that. Why was it so different from everything? Tell me one thing. Does anyone like to write more? Anyone of you who have a habit of writing more or who loves to write more? Do you like to write more or make it into a simplified version and write as less as possible? I need an answer. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
We would love to make it smaller shots.
Right? You just want it to be very small, very precise, and everything in one. So any error, just you'll get to know and then done with it. Right? So for loop is for you. A for loop is a repetition control structure that allows you to efficiently write a loop program, and you'll know how many times the loop has to be executed. Example, sorry, syntax. I'll use a point. What do you mean by initialization of a statement? Anyone?
We put the initial value like I is equals to 1, I is equals to 0. We put the initial value to a...
Means I is equals to 10 is an initialization, right? Perfect, correct. What is a condition?
Like whether it should be greater than or less than or equal to.
Yes, right?
Not equal.
I is lesser than or equal to 10, something like that. What is this updation statement now? Sorry, I have no space.
Like it is an increment or decrement, like plus plus or minus minus.
I plus plus or I minus minus, right? So here in if statement, else statement, you did this separately, this separately, this separately. What if you combine everything in one loop and do it in one line? That's simple, right? You don't have to write so many times, so many lines, right? So let's have a simple expression here and be ready with your compilers. We'll have an exciting program here. I told you I'll be executing one infinite loop. So how do I start my program? By now, you should be very quick at this. You should know this.
stdio.h.
What does hex stand for here? Can someone give the abbreviation of this?
And can you repeat the question?
What does head stand for in stdio.h?
Header file.
And header file.
Header file.
Yes. Now, do you remember Vishnu told the difference between C89 and all those things, right? I'll just show it to you practically. Why is that difference and what does that what he actually mean by that? So I've done my initialization. Have I done it? Have I done my initialization and for loop?
Yes.
So what should I do now? Condition, right?
Updation.
And I have to do some updation here. And after doing the whole process, what should I print? I have to print something. Let's print the values here. Percentage D for integer, right? Are we printing? I'll be getting an error now. I'll tell you why do I get that error. Gee, what is this? Oh yeah, perfect. So can you see my error block here? For loop initialization declaration are allowed in C99 or C11 mode only. Does this mean my programming? I'll copy the. Wait a minute. I'll copy this code here. I'll go to my online compiler. I should be getting an output, right? Because according to syntax, it's right. It's right or wrong? Sorry, there's something.
It's right.
So it should run for me here. See, you got the output, right? I have not used slash n, so everything is in the same line. If I use slash n, then it comes to my different line. It prints like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what can I do now? So can't I execute for loop in this? No, you can. What I have to do is I have to make some small change here. I have to initialize I outside. Then let's sorry, I don't know why. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Same output, right? What's
And
happening?
which version of
Mm-hmm.
and which version of was this?
This is the I don't know which GCC compiler am I using right now. I guess for GCC compiler 4 it won't be working. I have to update it. Vishnu. Yeah. So as I promised, everyone wants to see when your program goes out of control, when your system goes out of control. Do you want to see or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any practical approach for such kind of programs? Or why do we, is there some, can you do something creative with infinite loops?
Spoil the system.
Don't worry, I'm not going to crash your system. So what should I print? I'll print infinite loop itself. So here you go, your infinite loop. Nice, right? Can you see? So you can make some, you can write huge programs. You can use this for loop. You'll get small videos with with numbers and such animations using for loop, infinite format. Okay, let's come back to something even more interesting. Okay, is anyone from ICIC background? I really don't know if this is been done in other.
I'm from ICC background.
Yeah. So you would have learned about patterns in Java. Have you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in triangles, squares,
Yes, ma'am.
something else. They're very interesting to code, aren't they?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's try one with for loop and in C program. Let's try. Why is it in red? Okay. Why is this? Do you have any doubt here? Okay, time's up, is it? Okay. So someone tell me what is this one slash and this thing slash and asterisk. What am I doing now? Is this going to be executed by the compiler?
No.
Right? Why is that so? I'm writing it in Dev C++ only, right?
You're writing it under comment section.
Okay, so what are the use of why are comments used?
Ma'am, for explanation.
Whose explanation?
Ma'am, for example, we have to give this code to somebody else. He or she wants to modify it, so he can easily be able to know that what is going on in the program and identify that what logic has been followed. For these purposes, we learn.
Yeah, what, right?
Understanding.
For others' understanding. And by chance, after years, you come back to your code and you just don't go crazy about your code. What have I even done here, right? So you'll have a clear picture. So it's not mandatory to write your code, but your comments. But it's good if you. This problem, I'm initializing it out, or else I would have initialized it inside. Using code blocks or something. Surely I'll be explaining how to come up with such ideas and patterns, different patterns. They are very exciting to do. IJK represents the rows and columns. Why am I initializing I++ and why not others? I'll be explaining. So by now you will be comfortable using C, right? Why percentage, why all these? Timeline tells. I'm sorry. Time's over, right? Time's up, right? Vishnu? This is the last one. Done. I'm done with my... I know, I'm sorry for doing that. I should have given it a break before I took up this session. That's wrong. Right? Oh, sorry. Did you see the output? So what exactly did I do here? See, whenever anyone gives you such kind of series, if you've taken NTSE exams also, you would have a subject called mental ability in your 11th and 12th. NTSE. Well, if you've not taken also, it's fine. So basically, they give you a series and you have to find the relation between them. Then they'll ask you what is the next number or next series, next pattern, basically. So what is this pattern here? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you see this part 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 0, 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh, why did I miss this? Yeah, 0, 3, 6, 9, 12. So here, why have I incremented only I was, if that was your doubt, because I is getting incremented only once, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas your J, it's J plus 2. I plus plus, you can write it as I plus is equals to 1. But simple way of representing, if you want to increment it to plus 1, then I plus plus is more than sufficient. Here I have to increment it to two values, right? So So is equals to j plus is equals to 2. So here you have a difference of 2, 4, 6, 8. Here you can see k plus equal to 3. So you have 3, 6, 9, 12. So I'll share this code if you want. Does anyone want this code? Are you all there, or did you only take a break? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, ma'am.
You there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
Yes.
a similar kind of pattern will I'll display here. I just want any one of you. I'll be happy if at least one tries out that program to make it interesting. Can someone note down this program and try it out? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. The difference is it's not 0 over here, it's 2 here. Has someone noted down this one? Have you noted this down?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
At least one, but I'll be very happy if many people try it out. If you want, I'll share this program in right now. Slight modifications and you'll get this output. Just check it out how. If you don't get it, I'll send the output for this one. So by this, I come to end of my. Hope you all liked it. You can ask if you have any doubts. I'm really sorry for not giving you points.
Ma'am, there are only two homework. Like there's one alphabet and vowel, then there is this pattern.
Yes. Only two homework. I'll just display the homework. I have put that program. I'm really sorry for scribbling so much. Hope you can see the program. You can take a screenshot, or you can write it down, or you can just take a photo, whatever. This is one. Have you all taken it? I'll go to the last pattern once again. Have you all taken it? Okay, then that would be sufficient, I guess. So other than this, how was the session and did you like it? Or are you all sleeping because it's already night?
It was
Hello?
good. It was good.
Understandable
It was
or do you have
Understandable. I'm quite interesting.